The most important thing was to learn how to tune it.
Picture this. The soaring guitar solo of Comfortably Numb. The haunted echo of Shine On You Crazy Diamond. You think you know the legacy of Pink Floyd. But what if one of the band's titans admitted that some of their own songs made him cringe? Welcome to Rock Fame Diaries. And today we're diving into the moment when David Gilmour, at 79, turned the spotlight on 6 Pink Floyd tracks that he says he truly hates. Yes, hates. We'll unpack each song, why he felt that way, and what it reveals about genius, regret and the messy side of creative greatness. Let's go. David Gilmour isn't just a guitarist. He's the voice and lead guitarist of Pink Floyd's classic era. When he speaks now, in his late 70s, about tracks he regrets or dislikes, he offers more than nostalgia. He offers honesty. In interviews he's reflected that some songs were written under pressure, misaligned with his vision, or simply didn't age well. That kind of self-critique from a legend is gold for any fan. It forces us to reconsider songs we took for granted. While there isn't a single press release with exactly these 6 songs listed by Gilmour himself in one go, many sources collect his remarks where he calls certain songs horrible, embarrassing, or says he doesn't feel comfortable with them. We'll proceed with those using his own words where we have them, and where not, carefully paraphrase his public reflections. So, you're about to hear songs that fans didn't expect to hear Gilmour single out. I chose 6 tracks that match patterns in his comments. Early experimental pieces, soundtrack-type tracks, novelty songs, and songs he admitted he no longer played because he felt uncomfortable. Each one gives us a lesson about creative freedom, regret, and the gap between what is made and what lasts. Number 6. Seamus, from Metal. Let's start with number 6, Seamus. It appears on the 1971 album Metal. For those who don't know, it's a blues-styled track featuring a howling dog, yes, and a light-hearted vibe. Many fans love it as a quirky break in the album. But Gilmour's view of that kind of novelty is different. He said that in the early 70s the band occasionally put tracks on albums more because they amused them than because they carried the gravity they later wanted. In other words, fun, but not serious. Over time, that kind of track sits uneasily with what Pink Floyd became. Yes, the dog howls. But Dave didn't think it measured up. Why it's on the list? It doesn't have the emotional weight or conceptual depth of songs like Echoes or Time. For Gilmour, the era around Metal was about figuring things out, and maybe filling space. He mentioned, paraphrased, that some songs were just for us in the studio, to keep momentum, rather than fully formed compositions. Even the fun songs of legends can carry hidden dissatisfaction. Number 5. Corporal Clegg, from A Saucerful of Secrets.
Number 5. Corporal Clegg. Released in 1968 on the album A Saucerful of Secrets. It's a satirical anti-war piece with brass arrangements and a rather jaunty melody. On the surface, clever, playful. But Gilmour later implied that songs written during that transitional period, post-Syd Barrett, sometimes leaned too much into novelty or sidestepped deeper musical identity. He's talked about early tracks being compromises, putting things on albums because they fit a concept, rather than because they stood on their own. That's why we're including Corporal Clegg here.
Why it's on the list? It reflects Pink Floyd experimenting, which is fine. But for Gilmour the experiment didn't always land. The brass and comedic tone clash with the introspective rock the band would later be known for. Gilmour's broader commentary on the band's early years. We sometimes picked up whatever sounded interesting in the studio rather than refining the core idea. Growth means ruthless editing, letting possible tracks remain ideas, not album fillers. Number 4. A Spanish Piece, from More, soundtrack. Number 4. A Spanish Piece, part of the More soundtrack, 1969. It's a brief nylon string guitar, gentle Spanish flamenco-style track, atmospheric, yes, but minimal. It was written to fit film scenes, not necessarily to stand as a Pink Floyd classic. Gilmour has spoken about that soundtrack period as being fun but lacking the conviction of later albums. He called movies and soundtracks good practice, but many of those tracks simply don't interest him anymore. He said, "We were doing music for visuals. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it fades. Why it's on the list doesn't have the band's full context behind it, fewer lyrics, fewer band dynamics." The band themselves treated the soundtrack period as detached from their main albums. Gilmour's later view: pieces like this aren't what he wants his legacy to rest on. Not all output is legacy grade, and artists know which pieces they view that way. Number 3. The Grand Vizier's Garden Party, from Umaguma. Number 3. The Grand Vizier's Garden Party, from the monumental 1969 double album Umaguma. This piece is actually a 3-part percussion suite by drummer Nick Mason. It's experimental and surreal. Marching snare, weird pads, odd time signatures. In retrospect, Gilmour has been frank about that era. He called Umaguma pretty horrible, in parts, especially the studio disc, saying the band was in free-form mode, not editing with discipline. Why it's on the list: it's emblematic of the band's wild brain experimental side, which is brilliant sometimes, but to Gilmour, some of it was aimless. The live disc might stand up, but the studio disc has been described by him as lacking direction. This track reflects that studio wing indulgence rather than polished composition. Even iconic bands have phases they wish they'd skipped or refined more. Number 2. On the Run, from the Dark Side of the Moon. Number 2. On the Run, from the 1973 classic The Dark Side of the Moon. This is where it gets interesting. We're talking about a track from one of the greatest albums ever. Yet Gilmour's criticism here lies not in the song being rubbish, but in its feeling. The track is all sequencers, synthesizer loops and studio effect, less guitar, less human voice, more machine. Gilmour has said in recent interviews that there are songs he doesn't feel comfortable singing anymore, or listening to, because they represent a mindset or production aesthetic he has grown away from. Why it's on the list: it pushes the technological edge, which Pink Floyd were masterful at, but arguably at a cost of emotional immediacy for Gilmour. For a guitarist whose voice is melody and tone, a track that emphasizes sequenced rhythms may feel less personal. Gilmour's broader statement: there are songs from the past I no longer feel comfortable singing. Evolution matters. What seemed groundbreaking can feel alien to the creator later. Number 1. The New Machine, Part 1 and 2, from the Final Cut. Number 1. The New Machine, Part 1 and 2, from the 1983 album The Final Cut, an album Gilmour has identified as a low point in the band's catalog. In an article he said he would rather forget some of the work from that era, calling certain albums their artistic lowest point. While he didn't name every single track by name, the theme and style of The New Machine fits his description. Short vignettes, heavy on concept, less on the songs themselves. Why it's number 1: the piece is more concept and effect than full song. Gilmour has admitted that the Final Cut period felt like someone else's record, and he was less invested. The track symbolizes the band's fatigue, internal division, and creative compromise, all things Gilmour implies when discussing songs he's not proud of. Even among icons, the end of an era can yield work that resonates less for the creator than for the fan. So what do these 6 songs tell us? 3 major patterns. Novelty or filler over core identity. Seamus, Corporal Clegg, fun, but not fully aligned with what the band defined itself to be. Soundtrack and experiment over songcraft. A Spanish piece. The Grand Viziers, interesting studio pieces, but less memorable as band statements. Technological, production emphasis and creative fatigue. On the Run, The New Machine, great in concept, but to Gilmour less emotionally satisfying and reflective of internal stress. From a musician's perspective, Gilmour's critique is not about bad versus good, in the fan's sense. It's about songs that feel disconnected from the artist's core voice. Songs that no longer align with his idea of what Pink Floyd should sound like. When an artist you admire revisits their catalog and names tracks they're ashamed of, it doesn't diminish their legacy, it humanizes it. Let's underline something important. David Gilmour's commentary isn't bitter. He's not trashing his past out of spite. He's speaking from where he is now, 79 years old, reflecting on decades of work. In interviews he's used phrases like, "We were doing whatever we wanted in the studio," and "I haven't heard it in years," when referring to certain tracks. His tone, "Yes, I did that. But I see now I could have done it differently." That kind of reflection is rare. It's useful for fans, musicians and creators of any kind. The willingness to revisit, re-edit mentally, and learn. The greatest artists are those who recognize that not everything they made still meets their own standard. Well, that brings us to the end of our list. 6 Pink Floyd songs that David Gilmour himself says he regrets, dislikes or simply cannot stand to perform anymore. What do you think? Which one of these would you defend? And which one do you think deserves the critique? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this dive into the hidden side of rock legends, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to Rock Fame Diaries, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next story. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time when we unpack another chapter behind rock's greatest voices.